Hey all, Binks here. I've been playing MarvelSnap since day one of the beta, and there has been something that I have always wanted. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to MarvelSnap Draft. MarvelSnap Draft is a completely new way to play Snap. No meta decks here. Every draft deck is radically unique. You start each run by assembling your starting deck through a series of choices that will put your MarvelSnap knowledge to the test. Then you face other players one at a time with the ultimate goal of getting 5 wins before you run out of lives. And the best part? Whether you're an old head like me, brand spanking new, or making your return, everyone has access to the same card pool. I cannot stress enough just how excited I am to have everyone experience MarvelSnap Draft. This limited time game mode is available from August 24th to September 8th, so you have plenty of time to earn bits and climb up the event pass. With amazing rewards such as the brand new Hell Cow Fractured Frontier, and on the premium pass you can even get MarvelSnap's first ever animated emote. Let's jump into how a draft works from start to finish, because I promise you, it's a lot more than just picking 12 cards. Your first decision is a choice between 3 starter sets, a set of 3 cards with shared synergy. This gives you a great starting point to build on and tends to be the cornerstone of your deck. Don't be afraid to get outside your comfort zone here. Every archetype in draft can be a winning strategy with the right choices. You'll then pick cards one at a time until you've assembled your 10 card starting deck. Unlike other modes, you can have duplicates in your deck, so feel free to add 2, 3, or even more of the same card if it fits your game plan. Where things get even more interesting are the legendary packs that you'll encounter, which have augmented cards that are even more powerful. These augments can be as simple as some extra power or cost reduction to game-changing special abilities that completely change how the card is played. As you're drafting, you can check out your draft stats to keep a watchful eye on your energy curve, as well as the synergies that your cards share. Now make sure you aren't going crazy and loading your deck up with 6-drops. A balanced deck that can consistently play out cards is the key to victory. After you have your starting deck built, you'll match up against another player and their starting deck. Just like Ladder, it's a 6-turn game where you have to win 2 out of 3 locations. No cubes are snapping here. It's either get your first win or lose a life. Just you wait. Every round, both you and your opponent's decks are gonna get crazier and crazier. Between each round is where the magic of MarvelSnap Draft really comes to life. You'll get a choice of 3 augmented cards to round out your deck of 12. These can upgrade your deck from pretty strong to completely broken. Really think about what your deck is missing. Sometimes passing up on a card that looks incredibly powerful for a slightly weaker one that fits your deck better is gonna be the difference between a 5-win run and falling just short. After your 12-card deck is filled up, you'll continue to improve your deck between rounds by adding additional augments onto your cards. These decisions will make or break your run, so really think hard about which cards to upgrade. You can even stack multiple augments on a single card to make an absolute monster. My most broken creation was an Iron Man with -2 cost, an augment that let it start in my hand, and another augment that gave it quick draw, -2 cost. I mean, imagine starting every game with a 1-cost Iron Man. What could possibly go wrong? And that's Draft in a nutshell. You'll continue playing and augmenting your deck, and the more wins you get, the better the rewards. The ultimate goal is 5 wins, which will earn you a free draft ticket so you can jump right back in. But be careful, after 2 losses, your run is over, and you're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. Luckily, you have a very strong deck and you fall just short of the promised land. You can use a respawn token to get one last chance to finish out your run. Be sure to use them wisely. I cannot wait for you to join me on the field of battle in MarvelSnap Draft. It truly blends everything I love about Snap in a new and exciting package, and I just know you're gonna love it. To close out the video, I invite you to join me in drafting 3 different starting decks as I share my thought process and why I make the decisions that I make so you can be set up for success on day 1. MarvelSnap Draft starts today, so don't miss out on a second of the fun. Now let's go draft some cards.
Legendary.
All right, let us choose a starter deck, and we get a legendary start here. So we get Swarm, which I think is really solid. You get Khazar, Squirrel Girl, and Kate Bishop, all really good choices. We see a Null, Kid Omega, and a Tuma here. This seems like a very spicy start that we can get going. Now, Null, super powerful card, like especially if you can find some augments for it, maybe make it a little bit cheaper. The Tuma has some great synergy there, as it does Kid Omega. Now, Ramp is always great. I mean, I love Ramp decks. I always have. You have Wave, Dr. Doom, some really nice starter cards there. You know what? I'm going to go with this Null deck. I actually haven't been offered this one before, and I think that it could be pretty interesting with the right choices. So let's go with this Null, Atuma, and Kid Omega starter deck. So we see Nico, Nightcrawler, and the Hood. I think this is a pretty easy choice. You know, Nico can get you some destroy along with some card draw to make sure that we're finding our cards. Also has some nice other spells, and I think just probably the best card. The Hood, good in a lot of cases, but if Null is going to be the card that we want to count on, destroying the Hood actually ends up reducing its power. So let's go ahead and go with the Nico here and see what we can do with it. See a Nimrod, a Bucky Barnes, and a Mojo. Man, Kid Omega, Atuma, Null. Boy, oh boy, are we just building like a crazy deck here. Okay, so we get Muse, Drax, and Kate Bishop. All great cards. Like Drax starting at a 3/5, really powerful. Kind of weird though, right? Sometimes you won't be able to get a jump, so sometimes it'll actually be weaker than if it did start a little bit lighter. Kind of interesting to think about that. So you're kind of not getting the full 2 power with Drax, I would say. You're probably getting maybe like 1.5 power, because like there's a lot of situations where the Drax would jump, get you to a 3/6, but it won't with the 3/5. I think we just stay with the synergy. We go with Muse here. I mean, like Muse just fits super, super well. We get a Tumo, we get Nimrod, Kid Omega, Null, a Muse to slam down, starting at +2 power. Boy, oh boy, that is a really, really strong start here. So we see Bucky Barnes, Wolverine, and the Hood. So we're kind of just missing actual destroy cards. Really just a Tuma. Like obviously Kid Omega can work with it. Nico works sometimes. We're actually just missing some kind of core destroy cards. So Bucky, kind of just really bad if we actually can't get it destroyed. Wolverine can get destroyed multiple times, which is kind of nice. You can kind of play it on the Atuma lane, might drop back into the Atuma lane. I think it's pretty close between these two, but let's go ahead and go with Wolverine. I think that's going to be a pretty solid addition. And we see another Atuma. I love the aspect of having another Atuma. If we can get 2 Atuma set up, popping Nimrods back and forth, I mean, that's just absolutely insane. Let's grab the Atuma. This is a crazy deck we have going here. And we're going to see Elixir. Destroy one of our cards. Angel's going to give us some deck thinning. Or another Kid Omega. Now, I kind of said this before. We're kind of missing ways to destroy cards. Kid Omega having a nice augment of being able to get some additional power. This is Rally. It has ongoing of additional power for every other card here. So just going to generally get a little bit of extra juice onto it. The Elixir and the Angel are both good, but I think what our deck is missing is more ways to destroy. I think we go with the second Kid Omega here for sure. And the final pick here, we get a Elixir that's -1 cost, but -2 power. We have a Madam Web that when discarded or destroyed, regenerate this with +. So this is just Wolverine, but Madam Web. That's kind of insane. And then we have a Omega Red tag in. When one of your cards is destroyed, this replaces it from your hand and deck. So we basically have a Madam Web that's also Wolverine, or an Omega Red that's also Angel. Man, that's kind of crazy. All of these are really good. I think we actually go with the Elixir here, though. A 1-cost Elixir can fit really, really well into our curve. Like the Madam Web's obviously kind of insane, like being able to be destroyed multiple times, but I think being able to resummon something is going to be really great with the Elixir. Let's go with the Elixir here, and boy, oh boy, that deck is going to 5 wins, I tell you what. All right, so starters, we have a Swarm deck here. We have Move, or we have Destroy. Destroy is going to start with Bucky, Carnage, and Deathlock. Move, you have Vulture, Aranya, and the Iron Fist. And then we have Marvel Boy, Maria Hill, and Squirrel Girl. I think that Maria Hill is kind of like a just very, very solid card in draft. You get to play out a pretty powerful 1/3. You get a random 2 cost in your hand. Just really nice for filling out our curve. Let's go ahead and go with this. You know, Squirrel Girl and Marvel Boy, also just really, really nice starter cards to go along with that. We have Blue Marvel and we have a second Squirrel Girl. I think that Squirrel Girls can really cause you some problems just filling up your board space a bit too much. We already have some small cards. I think that Blue Marvel is definitely the pick here. Get a nice big card that's going to boost our entire board. And then very similarly, I think Khazar fits in here nicely. Sasquatch can be really strong, but kind of depends on the rest of our draft. If we get enough smaller cards that we can really push Sasquatch, tends to like kind of be more play 1 card per turn. So Hitmonkey and Sasquatch seem okay, but along with the Squirrel Girl and the Maria Hill, I think we have to go with Khazar here. Just a really, really nice synergy start. Agamotto. All right, 5 cards for the price of 1 and starting at 13 power. Boy, oh boy, that is a really strong card to add in here. Awesome Andy at a 2/5, not too shabby either, but how can we say no to Agamotto here? I mean, like the spells already have some like decent synergy that we're thinking about, right? We have the Images of Icon that can take our smaller cards, turn them into a big card later. It's going to really change how we're going to draft here, knowing that we have Agamotto and some extra spells. Actually kind of interesting to think about this though. Like in a draft, because you're able to get some crazy augmented cards, adding these spells might not be as good as you think. But I tell you what, it's a really interesting pick, and I think that starting at 513, already a pretty chunky card. Let's go and get Agamotto in the deck. Let's see how that works out. Now we can go with Angela, Hawkeye, or Ant-Man here. So Angela, pretty good. We don't have a 2-drop yet to fill out our curve. Hawkeye, not too shabby either. Going to get you a little bit of extra power. Ant-Man to fill up our lanes. I kind of like the Angela here. This is kind of like a pick that all 3 of these are pretty solid. I think that with Angela, especially with some spells from Agamotto, play those into the Angela lane. We can get some additional power boost there. Let's go and throw a 2-drop in the deck. Get our curve nice and filled out. So we see a Thing, another Khazar, or a Mysterio. I think that another Khazar is going a little bit too far into that. We'd kind of have to find 2 more 1-drops. Don't love that. Thing for Steps, on the other hand, can be a really, really nasty way to fill out a lane, destroy one of our opponent's key cards. Mysterio, not too shabby. Gets us some extra power for the Blue Marvel, but I really, really like the Thing here. Let's just fill this out and try and keep the rest of our curve a little bit lower if we can, and we get a 4-drop and 2 5-drops. That's going to happen in draft, I tell you what. But these are augmented, so these can be pretty darn powerful. You see the Blue Marvel here that has the quick draw -2 cost. Little bit tough, especially starting with 10 cards in our deck. You have to draw this on turn 3 or after to actually make use of it. Not super sold on that. A moving Iron Man is really devastating, but what's cool about this Stegron, it has the sidekick ability. Add a random character to your hand, give it -2 cost. This is a little bit bigger of a card than we want to go after, but obviously it's a bit smaller than the other 2. And we're going to be able to get a smaller card to fill in our curve. Tough pick here, man. All 3 of these are pretty good. Like Blue Marvel probably has the highest ceiling. Iron Man's maybe the most straightforward. But again, with 3 5-drops already in the deck, I think Stegron's the play here. Now let's look at our final pick. We have a cheap Doctor Strange, a Nakia that's going to boost up our hand and give us some extra power, and then an Adam Warlock. Both of these have, again, the sidekick ability to give us some extra cheaper characters to add into our deck. And it's kind of weird to go after the Doctor Strange here, but I kind of like the Doctor Strange. So like a lot of things that we can think about here, right? Like Nakia boosting our hand can be really nice. We already have another sidekick card. Adam Warlock drawing cards can be good, but we're going to be able to utilize those cards enough. But the Doctor Strange, it's a 1/3. We could play it on curve if we need to, but also can give us some really, really nice ways to kind of move around that our opponents might not expect. Yeah, let's go with the Doctor Strange here. And this deck's a little funky, but I think we can bring it to 5 wins. Alrighty then, let's look at our start here. We have the ramp with White Tiger, Jubilee, and a Jennifer Kale. Some nice starting cards here. Jubilee can be a little bit weird, especially like we don't really know what the rest of our deck is going to look like. We'd kind of have to build it a specific way to go alongside the Jubilee. This move, not too bad. The Spider-Man 2099, pretty darn good in draft. Like, just being able to move something around. We already have ways to ping it around the board with the Iron Fist. And then we have a Destroy starter that has Weapon X Squirrel Girl Killmonger. That's a pretty darn good set of cards to go with. I think that maybe the best choice here would be the Destroy. You can really have like a good starting point to go with, but I'm kind of interested to see how this move deck will go along. Let's go ahead and start with the move deck here and see how we can build this out. Sparky getting some additional moves is great. Kitty Pryde, a pretty good card, and a lot of people can use it well, but it's never really been my style. Star-Lord, decent card, but man, I feel like with move, you gotta go with the Sparky, especially with that Spider-Man 2099. We can get some really powerful move cards. Should really, really help fill out the deck here. And we're looking at Aranya, Heimdall, or Spider-Man. Heimdall, pretty hard to get access to, so that would be a nice thing to just be able to finish things out and get some extra moves, especially paired with Sparky. We can kind of surprise some people with how we move at the end of the game. Aranya, never a bad choice either. I don't love the Spider-Man. It's more on like the move your opponent's cards, kind of like a good in any deck, not really great in a move deck. Man, I feel like we have to take the Heimdall there. Getting your boss card for a move deck can't be the wrong choice, right? So we have another Heimdall. I can't imagine that's correct. A cheap Living Tribunal? A 4-cost Living Tribunal. That's a crazy looking card. Or just another giant Heimdall. A 14 power Heimdall. That is a nasty card. Man, Living Tribunal is a really funky one. Ezekiel Sims, another one of those cards that's kind of weird because you have to find cards that are bigger than it to get it actually going. Man, this is actually a really, really tough choice here. None of these fit super well with the deck. The Living Tribunal can kind of help with like the Heimdall, but you kind of want to play it early. I mean, just give me the 14 power Heimdall. Give me 2 Heimdalls. Let's draw it every single game. Why not? Okay, so we see a Red Wing here, a Spider-Man 2099, and a Scorpion. A lot of good choices. I feel like our deck is a bit chonky. Man, I like the idea of a second Spider-Man 2099. I'm not going to lie. We could get like 2 of them out and then Doctor Strange both of them. Potentially move them both to a lane and then move them again and then Heimdall them all. Now, we do have a pretty big deck, though, with 2 big Heimdalls in it. A Red Wing's not too shabby. Might run us into some weird situations where we actually get the Heimdall out and we kind of like limit our choices later. Another really, really tough choice. We could even just go with the Scorpion, just like a generally pretty good card. But I think I like the synergy of like Doctor Strange with multiple Spider-Man 2099s. Let's get him in the deck. Moving on here, we have a Punisher, we have a Multiple Man, we have a Miles Morales Spider-Man. I think we're going to be moving a lot of cards. Miles Morales seems great. Multiple Man, with how our deck is set up, might just be a little bit of a liability filling our board. We don't really have too many ways to buff it. I think the Miles Morales is a great addition to this deck. And then finally, we're going to go with a Hope Summers, Groot, or a Giganto. Both of these have the ability that you get 3 less if a card is moved. So Groot has the potential to be free, which is really, really devastating because we can pair that with a Heimdall on the final turn and get a lot more reach than our opponent might expect. However, a Giganto earlier on in the game, just get a giant card down in the left lane. Has some weird anti-synergy with the Heimdall because we're already shoving cards over there, but might allow us to just like kind of win out those lanes. And then with the Hope Summers, we have the copy and exact duplicate of this card. It has the Afterimage. When it moves, add an unmodified copy to the original location. Pretty interesting stuff. So Afterimage, when it moves, you add a copy to the old location. You can it kind of works like Multiple Man. It's basically turns this into a Multiple Man. It does say unmodified copy, so it doesn't look like you can kind of chain them together. It would really be between Giganto and Groot. I think the aspect of the Groot becoming free is really important here. The Giganto probably has more topside, but being able to play Groot and Heimdall on the final turn has to be the choice. We go with Groot here, and I tell you what, What a wonderful deck. And yeah, that's going to finish out the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to play ya in some Marvel Snap Draft.